This is a good one. What are your thoughts on TJ Ford and his retirement? I was talking about this a little bit on Twitter earlier. And the thing about TJ is that like, I'm from Houston. I'm older than him. Let me let people know we're on this. All right. So the thing with TJ was he graduated 01. I graduated, we're at completely different sides of town and everything else. But just to give you an indicator, like I'm a little bit older, but we're of a similar era, similar period of time in that city. And hey, man, Texas basketball really wasn't hollering about nothing when I was young. I remember that they made the Elite Eight in 1990. That's with Lance Blanks, Travis Mays, and Joey Wright, right? I remember that team. But Texas had not signed a McDonald's All-American until 1995. This kid named Chris Clack out of Austin Anderson, if I recall. He was like 6'8", played like a point guardish sort of game in high school. Yeah, decent college player. Nothing really worth discussing. But that's what you have to understand about Texas basketball before TJ Ford. After that, what do you know? Like, kids that were from Texas were actually deciding to go to Texas, which is like never happened. I don't think that Daniel Gibson goes to Texas if TJ Ford doesn't, for example. And it wasn't just that TJ went, it's that he was a phenomenon in high school. I want to say that Willow Ridge team was something like 70-something or 80-1, something absurd like that over those 2 years with TJ Ford, Ivan McFarland, Daniel Ewing, other guys I've never heard of course. But he was that important. Nobody raised the profile of an NCAA college basketball profile in a sustainable way like TJ Ford did, taking Texas to the Final Four in 2003. Like he did just making that move in the McDonald's game or just bringing Texas to the point they were. And the man got Rick Barnes to the Final Four, ladies and gentlemen. If you do not watch enough college basketball to understand what a Herculean feat that is, the man got Rick Barnes to a Final Four. You are simply going to have to take the word and the inflection of my voice and the way my eyes go like this when I say the man got Rick Barnes to a Final Four. And when I say that TJ Ford got him to a Final Four, I mean it like that. I mean TJ running that offense. I don't know if they had an offense, but they had one when TJ was there. And he wasn't surrounded by that much talent. And he was absolutely in total control at all times. Absolutely. Like, that was his team. He was the maestro of that team. And it was breathtaking to watch when he was in school. He was always too small for you to really think it was going to go well for him in the league. And that's in spite of the neck injuries and everything else. But as far as college basketball goes, he is one of the more important figures of the decade that just passed. And remember this. Carmelo Anthony, of course, won the national championship that year with Syracuse, and Syracuse beat Texas in the national semifinal that year. The national player of the year that year was TJ Ford, and it was not a debate. It was indisputable. He was that good. Absolute pure point guard. He was that good. Couldn't really shoot. Didn't really matter. He was that good and that hard to guard and would bang on you if it came down to it. But the idea that Texas is a top-flight basketball program where you look up and see the top recruits of the nation go to Texas and it doesn't shock you, that's not about Kevin Durant. That's about TJ Ford, because there is no chance in the world that Rick Barnes is getting Kevin Durant to go to Texas if it weren't for what went down with TJ Ford before. I mean, I really do believe that he was that important, and it's very difficult to argue against it when you go back and realize what was going on in that time period.